Hello and welcome to 5-Minute Math. Today we are looking at the Algebra 1 concept of graphing functions and identifying features. This is standard A.3C in the great state of Texas, and we are using item number 22 of the 2023 released STAAR test. If you haven't done so already, please go ahead and take a moment to pause the video, work this problem out on our own, unpause it, and we will look at our answers together. Alright, so we have a graph of a linear function, and we are simply asked to find the zero. Now, the problem is if we don't know what a zero is coming into this problem, there's not much context here to help us. If we look at our reference materials, we're not going to find anything in the linear equations section about a zero. So there's no help there. And let me open up my graph draw feature. Maybe there's something on the graph that can help us if we don't know what a zero is. So look at our answer selections. Right, we've just got 4 integers to choose from, so it's not even a coordinate pair. So a 0 of f. So if we were thinking of a coordinate pair, well, maybe we're thinking could be an intercept, right? Because if we're thinking of an intercept, right, then a y-intercept has a 0 as one of the coordinates, and then an x-intercept has a 0 as one of the coordinates. Right, so what is our y-intercept? Well, our y-intercept is where the function crosses the y-axis. Okay, so you can say it's right there. Okay, so it's got 0 as the x-coordinate. Then the y-coordinate is going to be -6. So if we wanted to look at the one that's not 0, so I see that answer selection there available at D. Okay. And then we've got the x-intercept. So the x-intercept is right there. It has the x-coordinate of 2, and it has the y-coordinate of 0. Maybe that's where that 0 comes from. If we look down here, that is the answer selection of C. So we can't just use that it's just one of the intercepts on its own, because that's not really helping us narrow it down to one single answer. So let's talk about what a 0 is. This is something you are going to need to know before you come into the STAAR test. There's not really enough context within the problem to make an educated guess. Okay, so what we want to know is, how do we get that f of x? Okay, so if we're going to view this as a function, right, how do we get that to equal 0? Okay, so if we wanted to, we could find the slope of this, right? So we could write this as f of x equals mx plus b. So we've got this, we've got that f of x kind of standing in for that y in our slope-intercept form, right? The slope seems like it's pretty easy to kind of figure out, right? So we're going to go down 1, 2, 3. That's the rise. We're going to go over 1, -1, right? So the slope looks like -3 over 1. We can even go between these 2 points, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 over 1, 2. So it's going to end up being the same thing, right? All of that looks at 3. Okay, 3x. We know our plus b is going to be our y-intercept, so that's going to end up being -6. Okay? So the question then is, what value of x can we put in here to make this equal 0? Okay, that is what we're looking for. That's actually our 0. So how do we turn this into 0? Well, if this is -6, then we need to turn this into +6. And how do we turn that into +6? Well, if x equals 2, watch this, we can do 3 times 2 minus 6 would equal 0. So the 0 is, how do we make the f of x equal 0? What is the x value? So it actually is that x-intercept. So our answer is C.